Welcome back to the Kelsey Sharon Perspective and our series on MAID and our Substack readings. I want to give you guys the opportunity, as always, to enjoy our content in a different manner. If listening to me talk works for you, instead of reading, we wanted to give you guys an opportunity to not only go and subscribe to our Substack for free, but then hear it here as well, so that when you're driving, you guys can get fulfilled in on all of the things that we are doing. So before we start, go over and give us a rating on Spotify as we're losing our YouTube. Go subscribe over at our Substack. And you don't have to do anything paid, you guys. Just all you have to do is like it and share our content. And that's all that we ever ask of you. Go support those sponsors if you guys are looking for incredible brands and products that are truly not only made properly, but that will help you with Ketone IQ. We've got our codes in the bottom below. Brass and Unity, we give you guys a massive discount, XXXY. And as always, Good Living, who help me stay on track and keep my mental health in a great place. So go do that before we get started. And let's go through the article, The Death Cult of Dying with Dignity, the rebuttal to the latest smear attempt that they did on me, and the personal attacks that just prove their weakness. And it's amazing to witness it's such a massive organization do everything they can to try to discredit me. It is only helping me. So thank you guys over at Dying with Dignity for sharing my content and also doing your best to bring down a disabled combat veteran. It's not a good look. So let's get right into it. There's undeniable patterns in the way of these proponents of euthanasia and the medical assistance in dying are attempting to silence critics. Instead of engaging in these reasonable debates, which, by the way, I will never debate somebody over lived experience. That seems silly, an absolute waste of my very valuable time. They resort to personal attacks, misrepresentations, and morally posturing of self-proclaimed humanitarianism. Ugh, what a word. The latest video that they did targeting myself and Jordan Peterson is exactly that. They're trying to dismantle and dismiss my perspective as uninformed while pushing a pro-death agenda under the guise of compassion. Let's be clear. What's being presented as a human rights cause is nothing short of a death cult. And like all cults, Dying with Dignity is thriving on manipulating vulnerable people. This isn't me saying this. The New York Times is saying this. The National Post is saying this. Other outlets are saying this. And they are redefining language to normalize the unthinkable and aggressively shutting down dissidents. So let's break it down. In the video that we're talking about on Jordan Peterson, it questions the claims that critics of MAID, including myself, and there's a ton of them, are misinformed or intentionally misleading. Yet the facts of the Canadian euthanasia expansion tells a very different story. So let's get right into it. From terminal illness to poverty to depression, MAID was originally sold to the public as a last resort for those that were suffering from terminal illness with no real relief in sight. But in just a few years, it has expanded to include people struggling with mental illness, disabilities, and even those that we now have reports of that were suffering poverty and homelessness. So if your government sees your life as expendable, it's because you're too poor to live. And that's not compassion. That's state-sponsored eugenics. That's exactly what that is. It is no longer a slippery slope, and it's no longer just a theory. It is now a cliff and a reality. We've seen time and time again that once euthanasia is normalized, the critical criteria for who qualifies becomes broader. Countries like Belgium and the Netherlands have already moved towards euthanasia for children and those with psychiatric disorders. Canada is following suit, providing the so-called safeguards. They're just temporary roadblocks that are going to be inevitably and eventually bulldozed, and we're seeing it right now. Just the way we're seeing it with the healthcare in the UK, because it's healthcare versus killware. Instead of improving palliative care and other mental health services, our government finds it significantly cheaper to offer death as a solution. We've heard story after story of veterans, disabled citizens, and struggling individuals that are being offered MAID as an alternative to treatment. When suicide prevention hotlines start offering assisted suicide, that's how you know that society has gone off of the rails. So let's talk a little bit about Dying with Dignity. They're a death cult, a modern version of this. They're not a humanitarian organization. It is a well-funded ideological machine that seeks to make death not just acceptable, but preferable. Like any cult, it relies on psychological manipulation, preying on vulnerable people who feel like they have no other option. It markets suicide as an autonomy with dignity, when in reality, it's a system that pressures the weak into removing themselves from society. And brought to you by Ketone IQ. If you guys have not heard or seen me drinking these little bottles right here, you have been missing out. These guys right here are single-handedly the biggest part of my routine. Outside of the functional mushrooms, the movement, the sleep, the hydration, Ketone IQ is a number one most important tool that I use in my toolbox. And let me tell you why. If you guys have never experienced runner's high, give this a try. That flow state, it is for real. Ketones are a uniquely powerful macronutrient that can cross the blood-brain barrier, and they increase the brain energy efficiency. And every time you take a Ketone IQ, you're going to notice the radical boost in performance, endurance, and just focus in general. For me, I use this when I road bike, when I run. As a mother, instead of using caffeine after 12 o'clock, I go and grab a ketone. More importantly, I use it before I podcast, before I do keynotes or anything important in my life. You will see a ketone in my bag, on the table, or anywhere near me. So do yourself a favor. Once you're done listening to this awesome episode of the Kelsey Sharon Perspective, go on over to the website partner.ketone.com/Kelsey. You're going to save, go grab yourself a subscription so you never miss out and you always have the energy you need. Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Good Living. I am so excited to tell you about something that's become such a meaningful part of my wellness routine, Good Living. Now, this isn't any brand. This is actually a brand I know all of the owners behind. And let me tell you, their integrity, their dedication, and their quality is the real deal. Their microdosing and functional blends are crafted with intention, and you can feel it. Everything is tested and made to support you in tapping into your own rhythm. We're talking about blends for anxiety, depression and stress, ADHD, brain health, inflammation, sleep, and energy. Seriously, they have thought of everything possible. I know firsthand how much love they pour into every single product. So if you're ready to check them out and explore more, go to itsgoodliving.com. And trust me, it's a journey worth taking. That's itsgoodliving.com, itsgoodlivin.com. And make sure to use the code BRASS and get 20% off your first order today. And brought to you by XXXY Athletics. You guys can check them out at xx-xyathletics.com and make sure you use the code Kelsey20. That will help you save. I'm so excited to be a new ambassador of XXXY. I absolutely love what they stand for, and I'm proud to work with them because they are founded on truth, dedication to quality, and they are built for style and performance. Women deserve the opportunities that sports and single-sex spaces provide because sex matters at the end of the day. It is the single biggest determinant of athletic performance, and it's completely unfair and dangerous, as most of you know, to allow males who are XY chromosome to compete with girls and women who are XX in sports. You guys can share your stories just by doing the hashtag workout speak out. Tag myself, Kelsey_Sharon, and the XX_XY athletics on Instagram, and we will share everything. We need to get fit and speak our minds, mobilize into a force that fights back for women's sports. So start fighting. The way that you do that is go to XX-XY Athletics, go use the code Kelsey20 at checkout, slap on that gear, signal to the world that you are done allowing others to walk into female spaces. I believe in this brand. I believe in the mission. I believe in what they do. So go grab some now. The tactics of its death includes things like redefining language. They don't call it suicide anymore or euthanasia. They call it medical assistance and death with dignity. But changing words doesn't change reality. If anything, a doctor's poisoning you and a patient at their request, it is still murder by any reasonable definable term. They shame dissenters. So anybody who opposes their ideology is labeled as anti-choice or uninformed or not for freedom or religiously motivated. And I can tell you, I am not any of those. This is called intellectual cowardice. The argument made isn't about morality alone. It is about government-sponsored programs that devalue life. And it's grooming in public. MAID is being pushed in schools, media, and even hospitals to normalize and responsible choices. Like all cults, they start by normalizing the idea in the culture until the resistance fades. And in Canada, naturally, it's fading fast. The personal attacks are just really proving their weakness. The fact that they've resorted to attacking me is telling me, instead of this real, strong debating forum, they smear and discredit. And why? Because they can't win on merits. The statistics, the stories of abuse, the rapid expansion of MAID, and all point to one undeniable truth. This program is completely out of control. It is proponents that don't want the public waking up to that reality. True dignity isn't being found in offering a lethal injection when life gets hard. It's found in a society that values life at every stage, providing resources, care, and community that help people live through suffering, not be disposed of because they're inconvenient or costly. If dying with dignity were truly about dignity, they would be able to fight for better palliative care, better mental health support, and better disability accommodations, not expanding the criteria of who qualifies for state-assisted death. The video that they did and the articles that they write attacking me are just their latest example of the death cult trying to eliminate opposition through smears and instead of debate. But the truth doesn't fear scrutiny. I don't fear scrutiny. MAID has already begun its descent into the dystopian nightmare that we all knew it would be. And more people waking up to this reality will not only be open and honest, but they will face a harder reality, which is that these cultists will keep up their facade and do everything they can to shut you down. I see it time and time again. All of this pro-death cult has is its personal attacks and emotional manipulation. You've showed your hand. And in my opinion, you've already lost. Because part of the reason Dying with Dignity has gone this far is because they have never faced anyone like myself or the others that are fighting up against this. And now they have. And now it's time we shut them down. So do yourself a favor, guys, and go and subscribe to the Substack. If you are liking these articles and you like that you don't have to read them, but you can listen to them here, go and subscribe and like, review everything over on the Kelsey Sharon Perspective on Spotify and Apple. And that helps us just as much. You don't have to pay to subscribe. Go check out those sponsors. And most importantly, their life is worth living. So stick with us, okay? We'll see you guys in the next episode. I'm serious. Real solutions that truly heal, not just pacify our symptoms. If you care about real solutions for PTSD and mental illness, I need you to share this. I need you to speak up. I need you to be okay with being uncomfortable. You need to demand better. Because if you think this is not going to reach out and touch one of your family members at some point, you are delusion. You are living in delusion and are delusional. Because we cannot afford to keep losing lives to a system that refuses to change. So I say this in closing. Shame on you, Maclean's. Shame on you, Maclean's magazine. Your article only confirms what many of us already know. Real Canadian journalism is dead. So if you guys are enjoying this series, do yourself a favor. Go jump over to my Substack. Go subscribe. You don't have to join the paid. But if you can support it, I appreciate it. Our YouTube is currently being taken down. So that is fun. So go over to the Substack, subscribe there, go over to Spotify, give the podcast a rating. When you guys rate the show, it helps us immensely. We don't need anything from you other than a review. Go do that. Go share our content. It's free. I appreciate every single one of you, and I appreciate you guys listening to our series on MAID and the other episodes that we do on the Kelsey Sharon Perspective. Do yourself a favor, go check out our amazing sponsors, Ketone IQ, as well as XXXY and Good Living. These are all companies I use daily, and these are all companies that help me be the best version of myself, and I know they will help you too. If you guys are looking for support or otherwise, and you are looking to move your life forward, feel free to DM me. We have slots available, and we are looking forward to bringing you into our community and showing you that you are not the thing that happened to you, but you can use it to create you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next episode.